My name is Chloe Lawford, and this documentary will explore different ranges of teaching styles. Some people prefer structured lessons with the teacher, whereas some students like to structure their own lessons. This documentary will explore the range of teaching styles available and whether there will ever be just one way of teaching.
My idea of a perfect lesson would be
more proactive lessons.
A practical lesson.
Fun, creative.
Something interactive.
Something that's structured but at the same time unstructured.
something which makes theory more enjoyable.
The teachers to be a bit more relaxed.
A teacher which I'm familiar with.
I have like a teacher I'm used to.
That would be my perfect lesson.
I interviewed some teachers to find out what they think.
I think there's room for lots of different methods of teaching. I think it would be really too much if you had wow teaching all the time or if you had really boring teaching all the time. I think sometimes there's a place for dictatorial front of the classroom teaching when you need to maintain discipline and you've got exam things going on. And I think there's a place for active learning.
I interviewed Chris ASHMAN, Head of Staff and Quality Services at Bridgwater College, to find out his opinion on teaching styles.
Learning will take place best when it's in an applied way, so through project work, through integrated activities, rather than set class activities with set subjects.
When I was at school, it was very didactic. The teacher would stand at the front of the class, talk to the students or at the students, and then the student would just take notes and copy off the board. Whereas now we encourage students to think for themselves.
The role of the teacher is to inspire a thirst for learning in young adults.
I think I've got the best job in the whole college. And I guess over the last sort of 15-20 years there's been a little bit more parity between vocational learning, apprenticeships, as well as then more traditional academic learning.
In terms of big changes for teaching, we can't ignore the influence of technology, starting with the computer back in the mid-80s, right the way through now to the internet, live video streaming, interactive whiteboards.
I think there's been a real move to be much more participative, active learning, students taking a role responsibility rather than being more passive learners where the teacher would know best, wouldn't they, and they would teach the student.
They were quite strict when I was at school and they're not now.
A good lesson is one in which all of the students in the class make good progress.
If you can get people into the learning zone, or they can get themselves into the learning zone even better, then that's when the learning can take place.
Within 5 years, I can't imagine a situation when every student won't own in their pocket a device which connects to the internet and streams video at high speed.
I think the curriculum probably needs to change in schools. I think people are not learning what they need for the modern life that we live in.
I think that raw essence of what makes fantastic teaching and learning will be pretty much the same.
I also asked them their opinion on Summerhill School.
The approach of people turn up when they want to learn, I think, is a really positive, humanistic approach. People learn best when they're ready to learn.
I don't think that would give a student a totally rounded education, because they would probably just pick the things that they enjoy doing. And if they may have had a bad experience of something before, then they perhaps would not go to that subject because it could be something that they would really enjoy.
You wouldn't learn the amount of learning you had to learn.
Whilst that's a lovely ideal, I think that unfortunately what that means is that young people might not find something that they're good at.
I think there's been a real move to be much more participative, active learning, students taking a role responsibility rather than being more passive learners where the teacher would know best, wouldn't they, and they would teach the student. There's much more of a learning community feel about things that students can add in as well as take from that process.